Hey there, welcome to Lab Today. My name is Kieran. I'm so glad that you're joining us. Today is actually, if you hadn't heard, my last day with you guys as hosting these amazing videos. It's been an awesome time and I'm so happy I got to. But I'll say a little bit more about that at the very end. So if you want to hear more, skip to there. For right now, let's take a look at our actual story today. It's going to be so fun. Today we're talking about something called Page Turner. It's a series that we're talking about where we're looking at the stories of Jesus and some of the ones that you just can't help but look at and be like, whoa, what's going on? Let me read more about this. Today's story is all about something green. It's leafy, it grows, it gets sunlight, it gets water. You think you know what it is? I'm sure you do. Let's listen. It's one of these, a plant. See, plants need water and sunlight, and then they grow and thrive, and some of them even produce fruit. Not this one though. This one is actually made out of plastic. It doesn't do any of that. But other plants do. Other plants grow and thrive with sunlight, and today, Jesus is going to be using a plant to show us a story about what God is like and what we are like. And so today, let's take a look at a story all about Jesus. See, we go to the Bible because we believe that the Bible is God's word for us today. We believe that it tells us the best way to live the best life possible. And so the story of Jesus, it tells us something about how to live this best life possible and what life is all about. So why don't we take a look today and see what it is together. I'll see you soon.
Hey there, little chicken nuggets. It's me, Carl. Welcome to Grow TV. Look who decided to show up. It's about time. You know, I've been waiting for you since last week. Seriously, y'all did the big idea last week and just had it out. Not me though. I was so excited to dive into another episode, I haven't slept. No, seriously, come on, let's go. Let's go. Why isn't it working? Come on, work, Bible, work. What in the world? What's happening? I'm so frustrated. I grab the Bible, I open it, I begin to read, and then I get sucked into the story. Why isn't it not happening? Every other time it worked. Oh, I got it. Maybe there's a phrase I have to say for it to work the third time. Let's try it. Skiddly-doo, skiddly-dang. Take me inside this Bible story thing. Maybe there's a type of dance I have to do. No, that ain't working either. Come on, what's taking so long? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take 3 long, deep breaths, then I'm gonna open the Bible and slowly start reading. Then, and hopefully then, I'll be able to be back in the story like last time. Here we go. Whoa, here we are. Wow, man, it feels good to be back. Wonder what made the dip. Grace!
Carl, how are you, buddy?
I'm great now.
Why do you say that?
Well, you wouldn't believe how long it took for me to get back here.
Really?
Really? I mean, I've been waiting around here since last week, restless. Well, then I tried to hurry up and get back once my friend showed up, but it took a few tries.
Well, what worked?
Well, I had to take a few deep breaths, take my time. I guess I had to be a little, what's the word?
Patient?
Yes, patient. How'd you know that?
Well, Carl, I think patience is the reason we are here today.
Really? Why's that?
You see that tree behind you?
Sure I do.
Well, that tree is our focus for today's story.
Hold up, you're telling me that tree is what we're talking about today? A tree? Some weird little cherry tree is what I'm here for? What kind of story is this? I don't have more important things to do than talk about a tree, okay?
Carl, first off, you need to calm down. Deep breaths, okay? Feel better?
Yeah.
Okay, secondly, it's not a cherry tree, it's a fig tree. And well, the story you opened up to, Carl, in Luke chapter 13, it's not a very common story. But don't let that fool you. It's very important.
All right, I'm listening.
You see, Jesus was telling us a parable. It was about a man who owned a vineyard, which is land with fruit plants and trees on it.
Okay, I'm following you.
So the man went to check and see if there was any fruit on the tree, and guess what?
The tree was actually an alien robot sent to destroy all other vegetables.
No, The man saw it had no fruit, and he got kind of frustrated. So he turned to the person in charge of taking care of the trees and said, "For 3 years now I've been coming to look for fruit on this fig tree and haven't found any. Cut it down. Why should it use up the soil?"
Whoa, he was going to cut them down because they didn't have fruit?
Yup. But the person looked back at the owner of the vineyard and said to wait 1 more year.
Wait, really? I hate waiting.
We know, Carl. But the person said they would take extra care of the tree in the next year, and then they would see if it bore fruit. If it did, then great. But if the tree didn't bear fruit, then they would cut it down.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why wait a whole year? Well, if it's a bad tree, I say, cut it down.
Well, you have a point. But can I ask you a question, Carl?
Fine, but make it quick. I've always wanted to cut down a tree.
Do you ever make mistakes?
Yeah, who doesn't?
Here's another question. If God sees you messing up and making mistakes, would you want God to be patient with you?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Well, that's exactly what's happening here with the fig tree.
Huh?
Yeah, you see, this was just a story Jesus was telling, a parable, and it was a way of teaching us to show how patient God is with us.
So in this case, we're the tree?
Exactly. And just like trees, we were created with a purpose. And that purpose is...
Leave people alone?
No, to bear fruit. Once we accept and choose to live for Jesus, God's love will automatically start flowing through us. And that's what bearing fruit is.
Oh, that makes sense. Kind of like when trees get sunlight and water, they can grow and bear fruit. But fruit don't grow on trees right away. So I guess Jesus' story is telling us that even when we're not bearing fruit, God waits for us and gives us time to keep trying?
Exactly. But we could never do it without God's help. We have to remember that. Just like that gardener was going to take care of the tree and give it time to grow, God is patient with us too.
Wow, I never thought that being compared to a tree would be a good thing. What's up, tree?
Well, hello there, and it's so good to see your faces today. Now, today's big idea is God is patient while we grow. Now, I thought it would be fun to do the big idea in a fun but patient way, okay? So instead of counting down from 3, let's practice patience by starting from, I don't know, at 50? Okay, here we go. 50, 49, 48, 47, 46. 33, 32, 31, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 3, 2, 1. God is patient while we grow. Yay! Whew. All right, great job, kids, and thanks for being so patient. Now, I hope to see every single one of you next week on our next episode of Grow TV. Okay, bye, kids.
Today's story is an example of what we like to call a parable. A parable is a story that is about something, but actually has a deeper meaning than the initial thing. See, today's story was about a tree that has a lot of fruit, a fruit tree, if you want to call it that. And it's not just Jesus telling us how to garden. It's not about how to grow a plant. It's not a science class, but it's Jesus using a tree to tell us a story that's a little bit deeper. See, Jesus was a really smart guy, and he used trees and he used pictures to show us more about who God is and who we are. And this story is all about something special. It's about God. So remember, this story is about a man who comes in and he's about to chop down this tree, but the garden tender says, whoa, let's just wait 1 second. Actually, let me give it 1 more year. And I want to read it what it says because it's super, super good. It says this: "Sir, leave it alone, the tree, for 1 more year. I'll dig around it, I'll feed it, I'll water it, I'll make sure it's all good. I'm gonna make sure that I take care of it. And if it bears fruit next year, then awesome. But if it doesn't, then we can cut it down." See, this tree, it represents you and me. It represents all of us because it's about who we are. See, I don't know if you know this, but a fruit tree is meant to give fruit, to create fruit. That's its whole purpose. But what would you do if you had a tree that was supposed to give apples and it didn't grow any apples? Would you just cut it down? You could, and that'd be totally fine to do so. But this man in the story, he says, whoa, I don't want to just cut it down. I want to grow it. I want to help it to grow. See, you and me, we are also designed to create fruit, to bear fruit. Okay, well, not in the same way that like a tree does, not like literally have an apple pop out of your head. What I mean is we're designed to be more like Jesus. Our fruit is our actions. You may have heard the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, kindness, faithfulness, goodness, and self-control. These are habits, these are actions that we can have when we look more and more like Jesus, when we spend more time with him. And we're supposed to love and look more like that. Just like a fruit tree is supposed to build fruit, create fruit. You and I are built to create that, the fruit of the Spirit. Sometimes though it's hard. It can be hard to love your enemy. It can be hard to love people. It can be hard to be patient when you're mad or to be gentle. And so this is what happens. God doesn't just look at you and say, throw it away. He says, let me stop. Remember, there's a man in the story. He says, I'm actually going to take care of the fruit tree. Do you know who that man represents? Well, it represents God. God who comes to us, who says, I know that it's hard to grow, but you don't do it on your own. Don't worry. I got you. I'll be right here with you. That's the story of the Bible, and it's one of my favorite stories ever. That even though you and I mess up all the time, that God doesn't just allow us to sit. He comes close to us. He waters us, he nurtures us, he gives us time, and he sits there and helps us to grow. God's patient with us, and I love that so, so much. So that's our story today. That God helps us to be patient, and that when we need to, we can call on him to help us. That yes, I want you to help and to try your very, very best to be those things, to be loving, joyful, peaceful, and all those other things. I want you to try it to your hardest to be those. But also, you don't have to worry about not being perfect. That's okay. That when that happens, to take some time and just say, God, I need you. Can you help me today? I promise you that God will be there. That God hears you. And he'll be with you right there, helping you grow, nurturing you every single day. So last time, would you let me pray for you today? God, thank you so much for this amazing kiddo that you've brought, that you've created. Would you be with them? Would you help them to grow and help them to know that you are with us, even when it feels like you're far away? God, you care for us and you love us so much more than a tree. So would you help us to know that you are there right beside us? And that when we're in a situation where it feels hard to love, hard to be patient, hard to be kind, would you help us? And would we call on you and pray to you and say, God, we need you. So God, I love you. We love you. I ask that you be with this little one. And we pray. Amen. Well, that's all the story we have today. And actually, that's all I have for you guys today as well. It's been an incredible honor and a pleasure to be with you these past 2 years as we've figured out COVID and figured out online church together. Thank you so much for letting me be part of your life, and thanks for letting me hang out with you guys, and thanks for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure. I'm so excited to see where God takes me as I go to a new church, into a new adventure. And I know it can be sad, but know this. Know that next week, there's going to be someone amazing who's going to be here to come and speak to you and to pour into you, just like I've been doing this last little while. And know even bigger than that, that actually it's not about me. It's never been about me. It's never been about any of us on screen here. It's always been about one guy, and that's Jesus. And so as I go off and as other people come in, remember that's about one man who's way bigger than all of it. And if you follow him, you'll have a life full of love, full of the best life we think it's possible. That's all for us today. So for one last time, have fun, be safe, make good choices. Thanks for joining us today.